We think it's just as crazy as everyone else.
Yeah, like
we're like
it's hard to talk about. I'm just like,
we bring it up all the time. Like we'll just be like driving, I'll just be like, Ash, like what, like why, like how? Like
I'll like just look at MK and I'll be like, remember how we're both trans?
Yeah, like it's just so weird. Like,
hey guys, what's up? It's Tiff and Jess, and today we're doing a really special video. We have two special guests.
I'm Ash.
And I'm MK, and we are identical twins, and we are both transgender.
So I actually found MK and Ash on Facebook on a video by Pop Sugar, and it was about your story. Which, then I told Jessica, we have to find them. They live in Lansing.
Yes.
We live in Lansing.
Who lives in Lansing?
Nobody.
Okay, so before we get into your stories, what are your pronouns, or how do you identify?
We both go by they, them, their pronouns, and we both identify as non-binary. So we don't identify with either gender, but like the specific gender that we identify as is androgynous, which means masculine and feminine.
With the term androgynous, which means feminine masculine, I feel that the only really masculine part about me is the way I like to present myself. And like I want top surgery because I will feel like I just want to feel comfortable with myself, and I know that that will make me feel more comfortable. We never really like fully identified as female. We asked our parents if we could be boys for the first time when we were 2, and like that's like my earliest memory is us doing that. I can remember like very vividly like being like 2 years old and only ever wanting to wear like basketball shorts and t-shirts, or I would never want to wear a shirt. And I didn't understand like why like my grandma would get upset when I didn't want to wear a shirt. We like wanted to wear boys' clothes, and I remember like it was a big deal like when our mom like would let us like get boys' underwear. Like we thought that was like the coolest thing ever. Like we were like yes, and like she would say they were like pajamas, but then we'd like sneak
yeah, we
them.
just like wear them like under our
like,
clothes.
Oh, yeah,
like, yeah,
we got them.
yeah, and like we were always telling people to like refer to us as different names, just like more masculine names than what our birth names were. I remember when we were like, were you like 4 when you cut your hair? Mm-hmm. We were playing a game, and we used to tell people that like our names were Tony. MK was Tony, and I was Rudolph, because those are characters from one of our favorite movies, Little Vampire. And we were playing that one day, and no one could find MK, and they were like the main character. They were Tony, so we needed him. I remember going upstairs in my house, and they're in the bathroom, and they wouldn't open the door for anyone asking, and like my older sister, who's like 10 years older than us, she was like knocking on the door, and she was like, you have to let me in, you have to let me in, and they were just like, no, like, and when she opened the door, they had cut all their hair off, and it's just like all choppy, and I remember it so vividly because I was so pissed that I didn't think of it first. I was like, no, like, you cannot have short hair while I have long hair, especially, like, no. So I remember, like, always really, really, really wanting, like, short hair. I always wanted shorts that went below my knee. I remember getting my first pair of over-the-knee shorts, and it was prime time, the best day. I was so happy, and my dad was like really supportive with stuff like that, like with how how we express ourselves. He's much more accepting than a lot of parents would be, especially with children that are so young. We went to Catholic school, and so we got our first communions, and we had to like wear dresses. Yeah, and it was miserable. Like there's not one picture of us in these dresses because in all like the class photos we took, we were hiding behind our teachers. I remember literally as like a 5-year-old child praying to God before I went to sleep. Like, just praying to wake up a boy. Please let me wake up a boy. I don't want to have to live this way anymore. Like, please. Like, I will do anything. I remember, like, literally begging. Like, I was just like, oh, if there's one thing in the world that I could do, then that's what it would be. In high school, my freshman year to homecoming, I wore a dress. That was awful. Like, and it's like, I, like, did it. Like, I, like, told my mom that I wanted to. Once, like, you get to a certain age, like, you start realizing how not normal it is to, like, be, like...
Such
like,
a tomboy.
when people, like, start, like, calling you, like, a cross-dresser and, like, just, like, being, like, so mean, like, I don't know, like, people were just, like, so awful, like... Or everyone's just, like, constantly, like saying, are you gay? But also people, like, in 10th grade, I got my hair cut short, because I had grown it out to be, like, this long. My mom was telling me I wasn't allowed to get my hair cut, and I was like, do you mean I'm not allowed to cut my own hair? Like, no, and my dad was like, no, you can get your hair cut, so he took me. And I remember, like, going back to school, and it was literally, like, the most terrifying day of my life. I was like, oh my god, like, I remember people being nice about it, but I specifically remember, like, this one kid that we went to school with, because he was like, oh, like, Ash's dyke haircut, and that's, like, what he kept saying, and I was like, just like, like I cut my hair, like that's all I did. And I just thought it was ridiculous that it automatically made me gay,
which was not wrong. I shortly after identified as gay. But I don't know, it's just like gendering stupid things. Like it really affects people. As a child, I just remember like literally being confused constantly, like never understanding anything fully. If I would have known what transgender meant at 4 years old, absolutely, I would have been like, absolutely, that is me.
Like, off what Ash said about how, like, you like gendering stupid things and, like, how, like, confusing it was, like, because, like, we both, like, felt it literally our entire life. Like, it's so weird that, like, it just, like, it's both of us, like, but, it's, like, the best thing ever, because growing up, even though, like, we were, like, confused and, like, everyone else was, like, messing everything up, like, we weren't, like,
we were, like, confused together.
Yeah, like, we would always be like, oh, yeah, like, I know how you feel, like, about it.
Like, I came out in May of 2014, and then MK came out, like, a year and a half later. But, like, between that, I would, like, try to, like, explain to them that, like, if they ever felt the same way that I do, that I would believe them.
Ash came out as non-binary, and I was like so confused. I was like, what? I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I was like, I don't understand. I was like, so like, are you still my sister? And they were like, no. And I was like, what? I was like, I don't get it. Like, I didn't get it for like a minute, and like they like explained it to me, and like it's not even like I was like being an asshole. Like I for real like was like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I thought they were.
Because like I like knew like I was like really into like learning about like transgender people and stuff, and like we would watch documentaries on it all the time. But then like I had never heard of like non-binary genders. Like a year after that, I like started telling people, I was like, I think that I'm transgender. I was like, I'm not sure if I'm like male or if I'm non-binary. I was like, I don't know what I want to identify as. So like I like didn't really come out exactly. I just like was telling people like I think I might be. A few months later, I was just like, you know, like it doesn't even matter. I was like, I just call me they them pronouns, because I was like, even if I identify as male, then one, I can ask you to switch your pronouns to he him, and two, they them wouldn't offend me anyways because it's gender neutral.
With being a twin, anything I do that MK also does, oh my god, we're both wearing black pants right now. So I copied MK this morning. I watched MK. I woke up before them and was dressed before them, but I watched them put on black pants and I changed my pants into black pants
like,
because we're twins.
They knew I was gonna wear black pants.
People just think that that's how twins work. They're just like,
Yeah.
oh, so one copies the other one through everything, and it's like, no.
Because we're identical twins, so that means that we were one egg, and then when we were in our mom's tummy still, then we like split into two.
Yeah.
But I think that it does have like a lot to do with it. I mean, like it only like really makes sense that way. Like unless like somehow as children we confused each other so much by, like, being like, no, I'm a boy. Like I think that's like the only like really like the only way that it can happen is like we were like born just like always like it's gender identity disorder, so like I mean it's like in your head, and it's just like, oh yeah, like I just am not comfortable with like how I was born. No, I think like it definitely has like a lot to do with it. Like there's no way that it doesn't.
It's like more common for like if one of them's gay, then the other one's probably gay, or if one of them's straight, the other one's probably straight. And it's like much more rare for one of them to be something else. For them to be different, it's very rare. So for a long time I just was like, oh yeah, so like obviously we're twins, and there's like studies done on sexuality, so it's like so similar, but it's actually completely different. I think people like don't believe it and stuff.
No, like we think it's just as crazy as everyone else.
I just look at MK and I'll be like, remember how we're both trans?
Yeah, like it's just so
how?
weird. Like I don't even really think about it. Like it's just.
But it's just,
like,
I don't know,
just
it's always
live
been
it.
this way for us. Like it's always been the same for us. 12 months ago, when I was about to start testosterone, I called my insurance to see what they covered, and I asked what through transitioning do they cover, and they said that they cover hormones, and I specifically asked, before they told me that, if they cover top surgery, because that was like, I wanted that before I even knew I was trans. I just knew I wanted it. That's the thing I'm most dysphoric about, so I think I'll just be like miles more comfortable with myself. And so I asked, and they said if I was 12 months on testosterone, I could get it covered by them. And I am 12 months on testosterone today, and I called them a few weeks ago, and they told me that that was not the truth anymore. After I set up my surgeon and everything, I already had my date scheduled. I was supposed to get it yesterday. They told me that it was going to be covered a year ago, and then when I called right before the surgery, they were just like, oh no, that got auto-denied because it's for trans people.
Yeah, so basically
It's for trans reasons, so
Yeah,
that's
so-
not okay for them.
So basically, they just told us they were going to cover it, and then when it actually came to it, they actually don't cover it. So we were just told false information.
A year ago.
Yeah,
a year
so-
later.
it means so much. Like, I have, like, broken ribs because I've been binding every day for years.
I have ribs out of place. I've had them out of place for 2 years.
Yeah, like, they're broken. Like, they're, like, not good. And, like, basically after we get top surgery, then we don't have to wear binders anymore because we will not have anything to bind. So it's, like, there are actual, like, health issues that go into, like, the reason that we want top surgery. But, I mean, I'm not going to lie, because the number one reason I want it is because then I'll just be happy.
Thank you two so much for sharing your story and
you.
like being on our channel. Like when we met you, we were so excited to just tell your story because it's so unique and it's something that people really need to hear.
Right.
Like anyone could be watching right now that could be in a similar situation and it could help them. It could mean the world to them. Like you could be the change, or it could be someone that may not understand and it could like open their eyes to people and things that aren't like them and let them become more open and just it's great. So thank you.
Thank you guys for having us.
We love you. I just got the best twin hug.
Twin kisses.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, we both
my God.
we kiss both sides of the cheeks.
All right, if you guys want to check out MK and Ash's GoFundMe, definitely go do that. What's the link to that?
GoFundMe.com/MKandash.
It'll be in the links down below. You can check out their Instagrams, music, Twitters, whatever else. Hit that like button, leave a comment down below. We love you guys, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.